Hello, I'm Joey Locke. We're here live at MVP Sports Academy in Huntsville, Alabama. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some tips, basic pitching strategy. We are talking, younger ages, ideally, that's 7 years of age all the way up to 15 or 16 years of age. But, the different grips, they're going to be relative pretty much for any age group. So I want to start out with the one that I believe is the best to start out training your child to get comfortable with. And you've probably heard the four-seam fastball. Four-seam fastball, it came about when you had people start counting seams, if you will, rotating the baseball. You got one seam, two seam, three seam, four seam. So we would always encourage the kids to, these two fingers here, your index and your middle finger and your thumb, we would place the two index and middle finger over two of the seams, if you will. And we would like for the thumb to rest directly below the baseball. If you noticed here, I've got, and I'm trying to encourage as much of a gap here of daylight behind the baseball. We want to grip that baseball and hold it loosely when we're throwing a fastball. I tell some of my kids to hold it like a raw cracked egg. We know if you squeeze a raw cracked egg too tight, it's gonna bust. But anyway, four-seam fastball, it's easy when it's thrown correctly or incorrectly to pick up these seams in a healthy rotation or an incorrect rotation. A lot of kids, they cut off the side of the baseball. A lot of kids, mainly because they deliver incorrectly and they haven't found their slot, their good, healthy, strong position. So they end up way out here to the side. And it looks cool, looks like a slider, but it's actually an incorrect delivery, and it is a lot of stress on a young arm, even an older arm. But right now, I encourage you to try to get those kids comfortable with a four-seam fastball from the mound, from any position in the field. And it'll help you in training the kids to get the correct rotation on the baseball. The next pitch that kids are going to throw, still a fastball, but it's considered a two-seam fastball, and you have a choice of with the seams, which if you can pick up the seams here, if I were to take the same two fingers, thumb placement, and run it along those two seams. This is a two-seam fastball with the seams. This one here is known for movement into a right-handed batter, if you will. If you're a right-handed pitcher, as I am or was, the two seams going to give you some run if it's delivered correctly into a right-handed batter. If you are seeing your ball, if you're trying to throw just a normal fastball, and if you're a right-hander and you see it cutting away from a right-hander, there again, we're back to probably an incorrect delivery that needs to be addressed. But this is the two-seam fastball with the seams. Now back to another two-seam fastball that's very common. I'm going to put the seams going in the other direction. And I'm going to take, again, the same fingers, middle and index, thumb, and going to go across those two seams. This one here, it also encourages a little bit of movement based on how the seams are, fighting its way through the resistance of the air and all. So, but this one tends, for a right-handed pitcher, to break away from a right-handed batter. That being said, back to the four-seam fastball, we're trying to get a good, healthy rotation. We want a good, tight backspin. We don't want it kind of cutting in this direction at all possible. But once we learn to achieve that rotation, then as we go into our two-seam fastballs, whether it's with the seams or across the seams, we can still deliver it correctly, trying to get that same rotation, and then allow just the shape of the seams as they are now positioned in the delivery, to get whatever natural movement. There again, that key word natural. We want as much natural movement as possible. The less manipulation that we have to do, the better off on the arm. So again, we got the four seam, got the two seam, with the seams and the two seam across. Now, I am again, I played in the Astros organization, which Nolan Ryan is my hero, and Nolan Ryan was king of obviously the fastball, but the circle change. He really, put this pitch on the map and made it probably the best off-speed pitch that you can possibly have. So I encourage the circle changeup. And there's several ways to throw the circle changeup once you learn how to deliver it correctly. But there again, I encourage with the seams, mainly so that you can learn how to place the ball in the weak part of the hand. But with the seams, I'm going to take my ring finger, I'm right-handed, but my ring finger on my right hand, and I'm going to place it right in the center of those two seams. And then I'm going to let my pinky fall off to the right, my middle finger is going to fall off to the left. Got the ball, as you can tell, it's out to the side in the weak part of the hand. And then I'm going to let this index and thumb just kind of visit each other on the side, and you can kind of see how it somewhat makes that circle. But don't worry about making a perfect circle, if you will. It's more important to really get it in the weak part of your hand. And this approach allows for you to, you can tell that I've got the ball positioned in the weak part of my hand. And once you learn how to do that, and there's kids today, they'll roll it over and position it because they know how the ball feels when it's in the weak part of the hand. But they might throw it like a four-seam fastball position. But regardless, however you choose to do it, get it in the weak part of your hand and think fastball. We want to throw this pitch just like our fastball. It's a deceptive pitch. We want everything to look like we're delivering a fastball, and we want the grip itself to be what gets us that difference in velocity. Actually, we'll decelerate, but yet look like it's coming out as a fastball. So I really encourage, this approach. Obviously, we've got the fastballs and the changeup, and what you're going to find out with this changeup, the stronger the kids are, the more difference in velocity. The younger kids are going to have 3 to 5, 3 to 6. As they get older, 9 to 11, you'll see that 6 to 8. And then ideally, an 8 to 12 mile an hour difference from your fastball to your changeup is going to be ideal as they get older. But you'll notice that if you deliver it correctly, it'll look like a lot of times like a 12 to 6 curveball. And so sometimes it might move off to the right, move off to the left, but again, try to throw it just like a fastball. And this pitch here, and also be able to kind of push the curveball to the wayside. But encourage your fastball changeup as your number 2 priority.